to the Now Show with my host, the host with the most, Dan Roeder, and our producer on the road today, Awesome Mary, tuning in from somewhere out in the DMV. So welcome to the Mo Show.
The Mo Show. All right, Mojo. I see where you're. This is the coup. This is
that was
this is, community takeovers.
Let's rewind that tape. Welcome to the Now Show.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was not now. That performance you just saw was about 20 years ago. That was a 2005 holiday recital when I was 24 years old. And
little baby.
Right, yeah. So I would always get friends together at Christmas ever since, beginning of high school. We'd get together and we'd have these really nerdy music nights and just kind of jam together. And then once we went off to college and then we're coming back for holidays and stuff, we'd get together and put on recitals. That's just what people do, I guess, when you're music nerds.
So, that's what Dan.
Yeah. So that was a Jason Robert Brown song called "Coming Together." And it's just that I was feeling it this morning. Like I'm feeling the potential of coming together. Like there's so much with all of the new developments in technology, all of the new epiphanies we get daily as humans. I don't know. Maybe I'm just in kind of that. Maybe it's pre-midlife crisis, or maybe post. I don't know. But I think it's a. I am feeling very hopeful.
So the song that comes to mind as you're saying that is "Come Together"
now over me. Yeah.
Right. Come on.
Come together. Yeah. There we go.
Come together.
Yeah.
Right now.
Right now.
What we're doing.
It's the Now Show. Yeah. So we should introduce ourselves just in case people don't know us. I'm Dan. Sometimes I go by Bard. We'll see how long that lasts. I don't know. Like it's a thing. Maybe I'll get into that story someday, but not now. So I'm a composer.
Are you a bard?
A bard? What?
Are you the
bard?
Not
the bard. I'm a bard. Yeah, a bard. Bardlet Pair is my Pair account, and our presenting sponsor actually for this show, the Now Show. It's 7:00 somewhere. Is PEAR-coin over there. So please, go if you have a moment, go to pearcoin.xyz. We'll also, I think it's also in the Jumbotron in Chatmosa. You can join us in Chatmosa in the listen, not in my microphone. That's let me tell you about my eyeball. That's my chaotic eyeball. Yeah. So, but you can join us in Chatmosa in the listening lounge. Just go to that QR code if you are technologically proficient in the realm of QR codes. But if not, just go to chatmosa.com and look for the giant pair that says the Now Show. Yep, the pair. Yep.
Just
yeah,
like
not the pear tree, not the partridge, the pear. Yeah, it's Pepe,
right,
but a pear.
And a bardlet in a pear tree.
There we go. In the orchard. Yeah. So who are you?
Who am I? That's a loaded question, but we'll just go with Mojo.
There we go.
Right. I'm Mojo, and I sometimes go by Mojo, which is very convenient. Yeah. Which is a play on my name. My name is Joseph, or Joe, or Joey when I was little, but I like Mojo because of the kind of the double connotation, double meaning there. Mojo is like motivation or getting your juices flowing.
What do you need today?
So I'm like
Mojo.
Right. Could be a cup of coffee. Get your mojo rising, as said in the Doors. But I'm a creative polymath. I've got lots of experience traveling the world as a musician, as a gospel musician, and then I've picked up several instruments along the way. So I've lost track of how many instruments I can play, which is just fun. And at some point, it's not about the instrument anymore. It's just taking the music that you understand and just figuring out what are the mechanics. Because people say, "Oh, how can you play so many instruments?" I'm like, well, it's pretty much all the same. You just got to figure out how does this particular one work. And you have to build up the muscles and the muscle memory. So that takes some time, obviously, but the application of the music is the same. So anyway,
like the virtuosity on an instrument, which just means like the technical proficiency that you can play really fast things or have a huge dynamic range. That's the low stakes practice piece. But I would agree. It's like same center of our brain that maps language. You learn one language and it's easier to learn the second. You learn a second language, it's even easier to learn a third. I would say the same with
Right.
instruments. There was a time in my life, actually it was called college, where I had to pick up a whole bunch of instruments because I went from pre-med to music ed, where we have to take all those technique classes and you have to learn to play all the orchestral instruments, all the band instruments. And then I'm like, I don't want to be a music teacher. I want to be a composer. So then I took theory, So that's where I actually really deeply fell in love with music, was through music theory, and not necessarily through these instruments that I played. But I still like to collect instruments for some.
Right. Yeah. And I just like experimenting. So with any instrument, just like any skill, when I first pick it up, even though I'm a musician, when I first pick it up, it sounds
Right.
terrible. But that's that moment where you go, okay, is it terrible because I'm terrible, or is it just terrible because I haven't learned how to do it? And some people, this fancy term floating around now, imposter syndrome. And I've heard several people say that most people don't have imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is a very specific definition, and a lot of people use the term broadly. He said most time, this is Tony Robbins. He says most of the time imposter syndrome just means you haven't learned it yet. It just means you're a student. And by the way, we all start at ground one, at ground zero when we're learning something, and we build upon it. But what you said is true, Dan, too, is that once you've learned the language of music, which is it's a
Mhm.
language, and the math, there's a lot of math in there too, for that matter. Once you have all that context, well, then I do start over every time we start on a new instrument, and so but I can accelerate that process. So it took me a long time to learn piano. It took me a long time to learn trumpet. Those were my first two instruments. Well, now when I picked up the guitar, that went a lot faster. And now when I've learned tin whistle, harmonica, common wax, paper, spoons, it doesn't matter. At some point, then you go, okay, once I get the technique down and I get whatever muscles are required, like so if it's a woodwind instrument, you have to have embouchure. Your muscles have to get into place
Mhm.
and figure that out. But you get the technique down, you get your muscles built up, but you can accelerate the learning towards proficiency. Mastery takes a long time. Virtuosity, that doesn't matter what instrument it is, that's going to take a long time because that's just a long-term commitment to one thing.
Right.
But you get proficient pretty fast. What do you think?
Well, I would have to agree with that. So I was just
Well,
yeah,
well, thank you.
I really do think that you have to follow the curiosity of the instrument. That's what is going to
Yeah.
often make the difference between becoming like proficient or virtuosic, or just like being able to kind of casually play something. You have to tap into the curiosity of like, what can I do with this? What's the way that I can express something musically? Because
Yes.
there's this part of music that is beyond what words can say and what words can express. And that's I think one of the reasons we have music. Music to me is any organized sound and silence. And that, speech is music, that and
Yeah. I
silence
gotta
is music.
capture
Oh
that.
yeah, there. Ooh, there's somebody already in the chat. I bet it's Mary. It's Mary. Mary is here.
Mary, absolutely.
Wow. Okay, so uh there we go. And I'm just gonna briefly go on a tour through Mary's comments, because Mary, you're awesome, and that's why she has
Yeah.
the handle on X, Awesome Mary. Um,
Yes, absolutely. Well, that's one of many
one of
reasons.
many
Yeah.
reasons, yeah. But she's also producer Mary, and she's awesome
Yes.
producer Mary, and producer awesome Mary. I mean, like all these different things,
Well,
all
yeah,
the
in
things.
any order.
Yep.
Mary, awesome producer,
Chatmosa.com,
right? All
look
the
for the
things.
giant parrot. Yeah, I'm actually showing Chatmosa. Here, let me get to this other. Whoa, that's me. And here's Chatmosa. So this is what it looks like on the other side in the listening lounge. You can actually watch. You can see like that's the Coming Together song that we opened the show with. You can actually watch the YouTube live in our listening lounge in Chatmosa. You can peruse the other listeners that have been there all week. What we're doing with this, it's Thursday now. We opened this on Monday, and we're sunsetting it on Friday, which is tomorrow, by midnight. And then that's where everything just kind of gets sealed up, but still it's on Chatmosa as a time capsule. Like that's one of the things that I'm realizing, just the way we're doing this. We have these little time capsules of an entire week of shows, and guests and audience and listeners and supporters. And there's, you get kind of like, this is like the secret Mary chat, because she doesn't put everything on in Restream, which I think is good. We've got to have that inside scoop when you come to Chat Mosa. But the really powerful thing is that, like, see, Mojo has his camera on in Chat Mosa right now, and I can turn my camera on in Chat Mosa. Everybody can turn their camera on, and that's really cool too. I go to a lot of the Groovy chats. And those are just always pretty amazing conversations led by film industry and crew people, and just the people around a movie. And it's really amazing to get some of the insights from people that have worked on films and TV shows that are like, oh, I watch that all the time, or I've seen that movie. And then you kind of get the inside scoop. That's the power of this platform. Right. And also to highlight creators. So like you can see I have Mojo's little tab column menu thing open. What do you call it? It's just a menu, right? I clicked on Mojo, and then this popped up. So I can do all these things. I can mute Mojo, but I wouldn't. And then I can also just visit his X page, because he logged in through X. It's a platform that connects the platforms. Let's see. Let me think about thinking. Right. Yeah, it's a platform that connects the platforms of X, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, Microsoft, and Google. I'm going to be able to just rattle those off eventually. But that's why I call it the hallways of the internet, because you can log in securely through all of those different platforms, and you end up here, where you can check each other out in the best platonic ways on Chat Mosa. I don't know why I said it that way. I just made it weird. Just made it really weird. Yeah, but like Camille's here. Camille is one of the founders, and David is as well. And we can visit their LinkedIn page. So like I can say, hey, Camille, let's check out what's going on in LinkedIn with you. Or I can go back and see what's going on with David in X.
So that's all tied to whichever platform they logged into Chat.
Exactly. And then the really cool thing for me and you, Mojo, and Awesome Mary, as creators, is that we can actually I haven't really talked, I think I talked about these once, but they have this thing called power tools. If I were to leave the Chat Mosa and go into the dashboard, then I can actually send everybody an email after this is over, on Friday, which I did last week. I did that first one where I sent everyone an email that came the whole week, and I don't have their email, but it just kind of sends through that API, kind of like a handshake agreement, like, hey, thanks for coming. Here's when the next one is, and here's the link. So I can set up the next Chat Mosa session for Monday, and then just say, hey, we'll kind of daisy chain these together. But also I can have just like an offer, like saying, hey, if you want to also sign up for my free newsletter, here's the sign up link, and so then I can actually have an opt-in. So it's just like this handshake agreement of like, hey, here's some information, thanks for coming. And then there's a handshake of here's a possibility. And then there's the opt-in on the end user side of, yeah, this was pretty cool. I definitely want a newsletter. Speaking of newsletters, and then I'm going to stop talking because I haven't stopped in about 10 minutes. We are doing our first newsletter this week, and we're going to highlight the first 15 guests that we had, starting with Mojo on March 10th. He was our very first guest. Yeah. And you, and then everybody's going to get this little, it's a one sheet. So this will be a 3 sheet. It's just 5 creators and cool people in general on each one sheet that has links to their stuff, and where you can connect with them. And that's just how I'm going to roll with these, connecting all of these sessions together. So I'm excited. Right. I'm very, very excited about this.
I like the organic nature of what we're creating here. So just a little behind the scenes is that Dan, my understanding, and Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you kind of had this brainchild percolating inside of you for a while but just didn't have enough. You didn't feel like you had enough ready to go to launch. And then you and I became friends, and you just decided, let's just learn it live. Let's just
Yeah.
build it as we go, right? And so we launched without having all the answers, without having actually without not even know what all
We
the
did not know
questions
the
were,
questions, no. But
right?
we
Yeah.
do.
And it's
Sorry, I was gonna say we do have an awesome Mary, and she says she's everywhere. Her last comment was from X.
oh
This one's from YouTube. Mary, what is
yeah.
this? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, and I came in on the tail end of a vision that was percolating inside of Dan for the longest time, but he just couldn't go live yet because he still had too many details that were unknown. But what I love about that, one, I love the spontaneous nature of, okay, I don't know what I'm getting into, but I don't care because I'm going to find out as I go, and that's quite exhilarating. It's quite an adventure. Or some people say, yeah, but Joe, sometimes you jump off the diving board and then you ask, is there water in the pool? That doesn't always serve you well. I'm like, yes, it's true. That doesn't always serve me, but sometimes it's spectacular. But what I like about, as Dan just said, okay, I don't have all the answers. I don't even know what all the questions are, but it's rather than wait till I have all the answers, all the hows, I'm just going to go for it with Mojo, and together we'll figure it out live. And we're going to make mistakes. We're going to crash and burn sometimes, but that doesn't mean that we failed. It just means we're learning as we go. Every moment is either a lesson or a blessing, and sometimes it's both. And in fact, you could say a lesson is a blessing. So every moment's a blessing
Yeah.
because
Yep.
it's a lesson, right? But and so what I love about the nature of our show is that it's live. You and I are learning how to do this with a live audience, and so they get to learn with us. And I think it builds courage. And I like this idea of an infinite loop that's it's competence and confidence.
Mhm.
So we didn't know exactly what we're doing, but as we do it, we get more confident, and then our competence grows. And when our confidence grows, you get more
Yep.
confident, right? Oh, I
Yep.
can do this, and then it feeds on itself. And the confidence competence loop it's on live display in the Now Show.
Well, exactly. Yeah, just to pull out a couple of themes of what you just said, it's that continual self-improvement, and I think
Mm.
that's one of the keys to this. The other key is, I think, the ability and the capacity to give yourself and others a little bit of grace, and that's what I love so much
Mm.
about this phrase I keep saying, and I love it more and more every time I say it, which is low stakes practice. There's so many times in life that we have high stakes situations that we feel unprepared for. And the best way to prepare for things is to do them and then do them again and then do them again and
Yes,
then do them again,
yes,
because that's
yes.
also feeds into this neurological patterning called a prediction action cycle, where yeah, oh,
Ooh,
I'm going to nerd out right now, don't you worry.
wow, you just taught me
Yeah.
something.
Well, and let me
Predict-
well here let me show you actually a little. Let me find the prediction action cycle from the Mind Institute. It's one of the things that got me really into neuroscience a few years ago. And so there's the Mind Institute is the research institute that is behind a few different products and papers and um, things that they have published, but ST Math is by far my favorite. It's a nonverbal math sequence that's K through 12 for schools, and not
Nonverbal.
yeah. And so
Wow.
there's this little penguin named Gigi. I think I wore a Gigi shirt the other day, um, and you just have to have this penguin solve puzzles at these levels, these different levels of math. And this prediction action cycle is what's really behind the learning, and it's a summary of what goes on in our brain pretty much every moment of our life. We've got these three different levels, and this is my own interpretation of it. This is not what the Mind Institute says. They have a lot more formal way of putting this, but I see there's three levels of the brain. There's level one is this like the safety mechanism, the survival. Am I safe? Yes. Am I safe? Yes. Am I safe? Yes. Am I safe? No. What changed? So it's this binary code that's just going off all the time. And when we get that signal that says I'm not safe, that's like the heckles on the back of our neck go up, and we just get this feeling in the pit of our stomach, or so, we have these physical mechanisms that help us realize and changes our thinking to, I need to be more aware of my surroundings and the schema around me. because we can be hyper focused as humans, or we can be not focused. We have that capacity as well. So like that moves us to the level 2 of awareness. So there's alertness, awareness, and this is also backed by Andrew Huberman's research and this is kind of a summary of his neuroplasticity super protocol. But that level 2 is like that awareness of the schema and of what's going on around you, and how you would predict the elements in your environment to normally behave. And if there's something that changed in a way that's unexpected, that's where you start focusing in, and you're like, okay, maybe that's why I'm feeling not safe, or maybe that's the what went from alertness to awareness. And Huberman says that those are 2 that are really non-negotiables. And then there's this level 3, which is learning. It's deep thinking. It's the putting things together and connecting abstractly, making those synapses fire and make new pathways so that we can learn new things. I'm going to stop talking for a moment because I want to find this website and I can't multitask. That's also that's a thing too.
Yeah. So I'll just riff on what you just said, Dan. This is really good. But before I forget, though, I know we haven't done a drawing prompt, and I didn't.
I think we need to do something brain related today. This is maybe where we're headed.
Yeah, this is really cool brain science, and it's interesting to understand the brain science, because being able to look at those 3 levels of the state of alertness, awareness, and action. If you want to do 3 A's, it could be alertness, awareness, and action, but it's really learning what you're talking about. But quite honestly, the actions that we take is a direct result of our alertness and our awareness. Right. And sometimes it's instinctual. So we're not making a conscious decision. It's more instinctual because we feel unsafe. Right. That's the alertness area. But awareness, I think, is what gives us the power to, rather than just be instinctual, be intentional. Right. So if my alertness meter is always wondering, am I safe? Am I safe? Am I safe? And when I don't know, usually it says, well, then you must be unsafe. There's a negativity bias. The brain science, there's a negativity bias. So, but the awareness piece says, okay, it feels unsafe, but is that a true reading, or is that a false reading? And even if it is a true reading, does that mean that I have to flee or to fight or to, the fight, flight, or
fawn?
Freeze?
That's the 4th. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn.
And there's actually more to that, but those are our instinctual reactions. But awareness allows us to go to the more intentional, where I can make a choice. Okay, everything in my automatic nervous system, everything in my sympathetic nervous system, everything inside of me wants to fight, to fly, to flee, to freeze, or to fawn. But that doesn't mean I have to do that, because I'm not an animal. I'm a human, so I can take my awareness and say, okay, I can process all of that, and whether I'm in danger or not, that's one thing. And then what do I do with it? That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, I love that we just hopped on neuroscience and neuroscience nerdiness. I'm just posting this into Chatmosa as well. But this is the prediction action cycle. Let me get back to the page. So yeah, we're observing these existing schema, and this is kind of that level 2 analysis piece, and then we're going to make a prediction. And then, of what a possible action might be. We're going to take the action, we're going to observe the outcome, and then we're going to perceive it. That's the perception piece. And that perception is going to reinforce the schema, extend the schema, or build new schema. So, and then there's this word schema. It basically just means the things, the organization, the systems around us, the scheme. The scheme. And so then based on this reinforced, extended, or new schema, we're going to get back to thinking. There's our brain. And then we're going to take, make more observations. This new schema, or the reinforced or extended schema, is going to start coloring our prediction of what an action is going to do. And that is just how we keep learning. But the way we think is a critical piece of this cycle. And thinking, I hear a lot of discussions about this on a lot of different audio spaces, and it's X spaces, especially on the connection between thinking and feeling, and how we can I have a good friend who's a clinical therapist. She calls it change your channel. You know, if you're
Oh,
if
yeah.
you're caught in this loop, which you know, this is what the loop looks like. If you're caught in a
Yeah.
loop that's really unhelpful, or creating these schema that are debilitating, or you know, just overwhelming, or whatever, you know, there's those feelings behind it, the adjectives of our lives. Then we
Right.
have the agency. That's another important A. We did like a whole A riff, but we have that agency
Yeah.
to change our thinking around something.
Yes.
And then that will, you know, as we can see, it has impact on the actions we take and the perceptions of outcomes from those actions, and also the predictions
So
of new actions.
one of the things I want to point out about this wheel, which I haven't seen before, and I really love this wheel, is that it looks on the picture as if it's static, but it's not. It's in
Mhm.
motion. It's spinning. Right? It's a spinning wheel, and there's really no start or stop. Right? The arrows all interlock. There's no beginning or end. Now Dan started describing with prediction, but you could start with
Yeah.
any one of these things. Maybe not outcome. Outcome might be harder, but if that's where your awareness starts, you get the outcome of something that you weren't aware of how you even got there, and that can actually inform where do you go for there, because your perception of that outcome. So really, this wheel, not only is it not static, it's spinning, but it's also, you can start or stop. Well, you can't really stop. You can start anywhere on the circle at any time.
Yeah, but you can hover. I think you can hover, because
Okay,
when
good,
we
yeah.
have you know, when we need more time to think, that would be a hover, because we can't stop all the actions that are going to be observed, but we can stop observing them. You know, that's
Yes,
when
right,
we
right,
have the agency to change our environment, um,
right.
or change ourselves.
And we can actually we can choose our actions though. So you're right. We can hover over the actions and actually kind of put it in neutral. So decide which gear are we going to go in. Right? Are we going to go reverse? Are we going to go forward? Or are we just going to hover here for a little bit longer as we're letting the spin cycle kind of percolate inside of our brain? It's
It's
really
the
good.
brain's spin cycle. I love that. Um, so um,
And the other thing about the rotation is that the rotation isn't at one place in space. So if imagine a bicycle tire, as it rotates, it's actually also moving forward. And so this is the reason this is important to me. The reason this jumps out at me, Dan, is that oftentimes life feels so non-linear. You and I have
mhm.
talked about this, right? It's going in different directions. We mentioned this on the show the other day. But if you, let's say you just take a little paint and you put a dot right at the very top of that circle, which is happening all the time, and you start to spin it, the dot will go forward, it'll go down, it'll go backwards, it'll go up, and it'll end up right where it started in a full spin. But if you imagine that as a bicycle tire and it's on the ground, as it spins, it's also moving forward.
Mhm.
So this is an interesting analogy about progress, is that progress sometimes feels you're at the top of the world, you're moving forward, oh, and then you're going down, and now you're down in the dirt
Yep.
and the dust, and
And
now you're
back
going
up.
backwards. Yeah, and you're thinking, "Oh my gosh, everything's falling apart," and you get to back, oh, now you're right back where you started, like, "What was that all about?" And then you realize if you can pull back a little bit, well, that was all about progress. Every direction is still, I made a revolution, which pushed me forward, it propelled me forward in the progress. So
Oh, that's
I think
awesome.
this
Well,
applies in
and
many.
here, just to kind of move to an action step too, this is that neuroplasticity super protocol that I was talking about. This is what I go to very often and quote quite often as well when I'm giving presentations, especially on things that I'm teaching to teachers. It's a great grounding force to just realize that we've got these two non-negotiables. Hopefully you can see this on the screen. That sort of, it's kind of small, but that's okay. So we have this multiple stepped, I think it's 8 steps, but the first 3, or the first 2, and then the last one are really non-negotiables, as Huberman describes them. And that's this get alert, that's the trigger for neuroplasticity, and then to get focused, that's to get oriented, to that's increasing your awareness, and that alertness and awareness together make way for all of these other possibilities, which, generating repetitions. If you think of flashcards, and that recall that we can have the retrieval practice is like the fancy schmancy term. And this is the one that always gets me. Expect and embrace errors. You know, it's often easy to say that failure means learning. And I'm going to quote Samantha Postman again. She taught me the FAIL is an acronym, FAIL, first attempt in learning.
Ooh,
Yeah,
love that.
but it's
Yes.
really difficult to actually embrace errors and be like, I love you, error. Thanks for teaching me, because they feel sucky. And then this micro rest intervals, you know, these little random ways to rest. And Mojo, you weren't here for this conversation, but the conversation that Mary and I had with John Carlos a couple days ago,
Yeah,
that was phenomenal. He taught me for the first time about the difference between rest and recuperation.
ooh.
Because recuperation is really there's still an action, but rest is just kind of static. You know, I mean, it's just that there's no output. You know, there's I'm not intentionally doing anything. I'm just stepping back and breathing. You know, so for some, recuperation looks like running. That's me. Like when I need to recuperate, I go on a run. That is not,
it's not
rest,
right? Yeah.
So
for me,
but
I think for you, well, you know, I can both say we can recuperate with music as well.
Yeah.
And music is not no action, but there are rests built into the music, which is interesting, right?
Yeah,
There's
it's
action,
organized sound and silence.
action and rest are both required. If I play all the notes of a song all at the same time, it's not going to sound very good, and it's going to be a very short song. So rests are required.
But you know what? I was just, it got me thinking that for some, rest, like that the being silent, is not recuperative.
That's true.
Like
true. Yeah.
something that is recuperative would be speaking out loud and processing.
Yes.
There's something very that visceral experience that we get from speaking out loud.
Yes, right.
So yeah, there's all these other things in this protocol. Just you know, intermittent rewards, limit learning sessions to 90 minutes. So like these cram sessions for a test, that's not super productive. And then this is the other non-negotiable, is rest. He even calls out like we need the rest, because that's where we non-sleep deep rest protocol, and then get quality and sufficiently long deep sleep, and that night and the next and the next and the next, if we really want learning to sink in, because that's when our brain is actually doing the reboot and the you know, I'm going to put this in long-term storage, and this I can let go, this is going to be a dream, you know. So
what's the web page you're referring to here? I'm going to put it on the chat.
Yeah, it's in, I think I put it in, yeah, it's also in Chatmosa.
Okay, cool.
So it's the Teach and Learn Better with a Neuroplasticity Super Protocol.
Okay.
So yeah.
But if people wanted to link there, what would be the URL?
Oh gosh, that would be hubermanlab.com/newsletter/teach and learn better with the
Not just the first part, hubermanlab.com.
Yeah, hubermanlab.com, and then I would say /newsletter.
Okay.
Because they'll be able to find that.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
Sweet. Yeah. So why don't we do a brain related drawing prompt?
Yes.
Because that's going to take us to about time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm loving this. What do you think? What do you think, Mojo? This one's on you. What should we draw? I wouldn't say on you like I'm assigning it. I'm just saying on you as an opportunity.
So before we get to that, I got to tell you the visual that went through my head. Back when I was young, they used to have this campaign against drugs, and so I was probably in junior high, and they had this commercial. It was a big public service announcement. The commercial would start out with a frying pan, and they would have these eggs, and they said, "This is your brain." And then they crack the egg and they put the pan, starts to sizzle. This is your brain on drugs, right? And I thought, you know, without all those protocols, especially the non-negotiables that Andrew Huberman shows us there, is actually without drugs, we can actually do that. We can scramble our brain because we don't give it what it needs in order to thrive. So I just thought that was really good. But I think for the prompt, let's do something around mind babies. Um,
Oh my goodness, this could get really bad, but also could be
yeah,
really cool.
let's do it.
Yeah, Mary, get your quotes ready, Mary. I was just gonna say though, I remember that commercial, and I also remember the DARE program. It was a local law enforcement was coming into schools and teaching about drugs and the physical effects and the effects on our brain. And I remember it was called DARE was Drug Abuse Resistance Education. And I had a teacher, and I won't say who it was because it's kind of silly. They said, you know what that really stands for is drugs are really expensive. So don't do
Yep.
drugs.
Well, that's why I never did drugs. I couldn't afford them.
Okay. Yeah, I never did either. So, but you know, I guess it worked. All right, we're gonna do a beginner-friendly 6-step drawing tutorial of a stupid, simple mind
Yeah, we might need
baby.
more words, but that's a good place
We're
to
just
start. We'll see what happens.
mind baby. We're just gonna go with it and see what happens. I don't think this is
No, I
gonna be a
don't.
one-shot
Right.
here today. I kind of
But
doubt
actually,
it. I'm
that's even
I'm
part of what we're
nervous.
talking about is that it's not a,
Um,
it's not
I I don't
right. I don't
understand.
think, I don't think the AI
I
understands
don't.
either. So
Nope. What is a mind baby? Let's give
yes.
different
So
language to this. What is
uh,
it? Stupid, simple personification of an idea.
of two ideas coming together to create a new idea.
Okay, let's go. Fledgling personification of two ideas coming together to make a bigger or better
A
idea.
new, just new. Not
A
bigger, it's
new,
not better.
that's right.
Yep.
New idea. Right,
Yep.
it's just new.
And
It's
it's
new is
a
not
baby,
always
so
better.
it's
Okay.
small. It's going to grow.
I'm really interested
We're
to
not
see what
making
it does with the word fledgling. Oh, there, fledgling. I'm gonna take out
yeah,
fledgling.
we're not making
I knew it had like bird related or something.
mind adults. We're not making mind teenagers.
Well, and then it crosses out the bird. It's like, nope, you're new. Oh, this is actually
Oh,
really
look at that.
cute.
Yeah.
Okay, that's got
That's
to
so
be
good.
it.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh, I
know
like this
what.
because you can take it anywhere, and it kind of
Yeah,
looks like Mike and Sully from Monsters Inc. Mike
Mike
Wazowski, right?
Wazowski. Mike
No, this is great because you can take it
Wazowski.
anywhere you want, and it's simple, and there's lots of space above for people to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, I do. Okay, this is not as bad as I thought it
So
could have gone. I thought we were going
can you
into like
can
zygote
you add above
territory.
in the white space a thought bubble so people can fill in the thought bubble right, with whatever their thoughts are? Like a thought cloud.
Uh, I
It may not work,
can.
but it's worth trying. It's worth a shot.
Well, yeah, let me see if I can. Okay. I'm going to see if I can remember the instruction from Ross because there is a way I can do that. I'm going to go to Ross. If you're watching this, don't cry.
Don't cry for me,
Don't cry
Tina.
for me. So we were doing our, we're playing with this earlier on Monday with Jadel. It was pretty cool. So I'm going to go to edit and I'm going to use, an in painting is basically going to be adding something. And I'm going to choose my file. It is going to be image 27. That is what I'm going with. Okay, and then I'm going to say add a thought bubble above its head. Is that a head? It is
Sure.
just a head. Let's just say
Yes,
above.
good. Yeah, because I want to kind of fill, if it can, fill up that whole white space with a big thought bubble.
Okay, so we're gonna. Oh, I didn't actually. Okay, I have to actually edit it. I have
So
to
you
hit
just
the button. Okay, now there we go. So I'm going to have a mask right here.
oh, you can tell it where you want it then.
I can tell exactly where I want it. So I'm just gonna say like add a thought bubble here, and maybe
Yeah,
it's a big thought bubble.
you can
like
take up
that.
all that space in the upper half of the page.
Wow.
I want to get
And now it's a
people
cloud
still
thought
to
bubble.
fill in that
Okay.
thought bubble however they wish. Yes.
Okay. So now I'm going to say add a thought bubble above.
This is all happening live, people.
This is happening live. Okay, so this is.
Oh, wait.
Well, I don't know what. Well, this is part of like what it's thinking, and it's like
Okay.
Wow. Okay, let's temper that a little. Add a
Simple, stupid,
and
and empty. Yes.
empty. Okay. Keep it simple, stupid, or keep it stupid, simple.
What'd you call me?
Or that's the KISS principle.
Yeah, and KISS is love. That's a great.
Look at this. I don't know what that is, but
If
that's
you can
a win.
eliminate the one on the left, but it's okay.
Well,
it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I can do that. I can let's download that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's start closing the show, and I'm
right.
gonna see if I can master this. Make Ross so proud.
So I'm going to pull out my guitar lele. Whoops. Yeah. So for those who don't know what a guitar lele is, I didn't even know not long ago. I went into a guitar center and I was looking for a portable guitar I could take with me on my travels. Because right now I'm up in Montana with my family who raised me. I'm actually in the bedroom of my mother's house. I don't live there, people. I am beyond that. But I was looking for a portable guitar, some sort of travel guitar, and eventually got to ukuleles, but those are 4 strings instead of 6. I'm a guitar player, and so I knew I'd have to learn the patterns. And the salesman said, "Well, have you ever tried a guitar lele?" And I said, "Are you making that up?" I said, "No." He says, "No, it's a 6-string ukulele." And I was like, all right." So he pulled it off the shelf, which is like just this model I have here, and it's a 6-string ukulele. It's got the same intervals between strings as a guitar, which means that I can use the same chord patterns that I would on my guitar. It's just a different key. This is tuned to A, whereas a guitar is generally tuned to E, as default. So, but the chord patterns are the same, which means all the songs that I've learned I can play. I just have to learn to sing them in a much different key. But Dan and I have been playing with 2 songs. We're doing a mashup of Lean on Me and what's the other one?
Stand by me, stand on me. And I just got to say, before I'm going to give us more real estate, look, I did it. I removed the weird, I just said remove weird bubble. And then yeah. So there we go. I'm going to put that in chat, Mosa, and then I'm going to stop sharing this.
Yes. We just created an AI drawing for people to download it, to play with, and to create. So show me paper plates, though, Dan. Show them what we're doing with the drawings.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I almost knocked myself over.
We're live, baby. We are live. So tell them what you're doing with the paper plates here. That's like your
it's my gallery. Yeah, on the first it wasn't the first show, it was like the last pre-show that my daughter actually produced. We made this paper plate frame for this paper plate artwork that we're making. This was yesterday's that we did with this Catronaut. See, look at that. So now I can have artwork up here. Like I keep forgetting to put it up during the show, but this is where when I make my little mind baby, it's gonna get some airtime tomorrow. But this was the first one, and this is what kind of started it all. I wanted to learn how to draw like my whole life, and I found this book that I've had forever, and it's the Colossal Book of How to Draw. And I just found a Formula One race car. So this is the first one. So I staked a claim that I'm going to sell this paper plate sometime in my life for $50,000. So if you want to buy it now, you can.
I love it. Yes.
So that's what we're doing, and we're going to put them on Spaceables. It's a as an
by
NFT.
The way, whenever they do buy it, it will be now. It'll just be different.
It will be now. It'll be that now. All right, let's sing to us, serenade us. Then it's time to go.
Time in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow. Oh, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. It won't be long till I'm somebody to lean on. You just call on me. me brother when you need a friend. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on me when you're not strong. I'm gonna, I'll help you carry on. It won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. You just call on me, sister, when you need a friend. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on. So if there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry, oh, I'm right up the road and I'll bear your load. If you just call me. If you need a friend, call me. If you ever need a friend, call me. When you need a friend, I said, call me. Call me. Call me. All right, that's it for today. Tune in next time when we do something different, but it'll be similar, but it'll be now. Have a great day, everybody. And here's a little outro music as we head out into the day.